Welcome to today's Explainer. We're going to be looking at one of the most, frankly, fascinating expectation gaps we've seen in recent gaming history. Over the last little while, we all watched two absolutely massive, highly anticipated games make the jump to our mobile devices. On paper, both were totally poised to dominate the mobile gaming landscape. But in reality, we ended up with a literal masterclass in how to successfully port a AAA game on one hand and a complete cautionary tale of disastrous optimization on the other.
When Activision dropped Warzone Mobile, players pretty quickly realized they weren't just downloading a game, they were downloading a literal pocket heater that melted frames. We are talking major lag, pixelated messes, and serious game-breaking performance drops. But contrast that with Digital Extremes dropping Warframe Mobile? We're talking about a massive, chaotic, super fast-paced sci-fi shooter that's been around for 13 years, and on mobile, it is running flawlessly, complete with fully integrated cross-save. No way, right? So how exactly did two industry giants end up with such wildly different results?
Section 1. The Tale of Two Ports. Hype versus Reality. To really understand the disappointment here, you've got to understand the hype. When Warzone Mobile was announced, the gaming community absolutely lost its mind, and rightfully so. The promise was incredibly enticing. A definitive, absolutely no compromises battle royale experience right there in our pockets. The authentic Warzone feel. We all expected to just drop into Verdansk while waiting for the train. It set expectations astronomically high, which unfortunately only paved the way for a massive letdown when the reality just didn't match the marketing.
Which brings us to Section 2, the optimization trap, Activision's gamble.
When you're building a mobile game, you essentially have a choice. Do you build from the ground up, or do you force what you already have to fit? Activision made a massive, massive gamble here, and this brilliantly illustrates the core issue. Instead of rebuilding Warzone from scratch, specifically for mobile hardware, which by the way is exactly what they did so successfully with Call of Duty Mobile, they forced the actual heavy PC and console engine, the IW9, onto mobile phones. Digital Extremes? They took the exact opposite approach. They took their proprietary Evolution engine and meticulously scaled it down to make sure it natively understood mobile constraints. Because Activision used that heavy console engine, they had to rely on something called asset streaming. Basically, this means the game is literally downloading high-resolution textures and environmental assets over your mobile data in real time, right while you're playing. Let me act as a jargon buster here for a second. Relying on real-time background downloads over a cellular network for a split-second, highly competitive shooter? It is a terrible idea. Think about it. You're trying to download the paint for a building while you are actively in a firefight inside of it. The physical reality of this technology was just a disaster. As our source material bluntly puts it, this tech turned high-end chips into toast. Unless you were running the absolute latest top-tier flagship processor, the game looked like a blurry mess. It completely killed performance, it literally turned mid-range smartphones into radiators, and most importantly, it alienated millions of players who just wanted a smooth, stable, 60 frames per second experience.
Ultimately, Activision prioritized visual parity with the console version over basic playability on a phone. In their quest to make it look exactly like the game you play on your big screen TV, they completely forgot that a mobile game, first and foremost, needs to actually run efficiently on a small battery-powered device.
All right, let's pivot. Section 3. Cracking the Mobile Code, Warframe's Masterclass.
Digital Extremes didn't just copy-paste their game and hope for the best. They had a very specific strategy. First, as we mentioned, they used that meticulously optimized engine. But then, they completely redesigned the user interface specifically for touch controls. They didn't just lazily slap a controller layout onto a glass screen. They added these incredibly intuitive auto-shooting mechanics that actually make sense for a quick, casual mobile session. They built in performance scaling so older chips could actually handle all the on-screen chaos. And they wrapped the whole shebang in full cross-progression. They ensured the game felt like a native mobile experience first.
You hungry?
I really want to emphasize that last point because it's absolutely crucial. Grind on PC, jump on the bus, continue on your phone. You can literally be playing on your console, hit pause, walk out the door, pull out your phone, and continue exactly where you left off with your exact same loadout. It's seamless. It totally respects the player's time. And the crazy part is, it actually runs smoothly while doing it.
Let's pull back from the tech for a minute and move to Section 4, the ecosystem mistake, business blunders. Let's see how this builds into the broader picture. Now, what's really interesting here is the stark contrast in how both companies manage their player base and their monetization. Activision tried to force Warzone Mobile into this super bloated shared battle pass ecosystem with Modern Warfare and PC Warzone, pushing really aggressive microtransactions. Warframe, on the other hand, kept it as a standalone, lightweight entry using the exact same fair, grind-to-earn model they've been using for over a decade. But the absolute biggest blunder? The audience impact? Warframe expanded its main player base. Activision built a game that actively competed against itself.
By forcing Warzone onto mobile the way they did, Activision completely ignored what made their own Call of Duty Mobile a multi-billion-dollar success in the first place. COD Mobile runs beautifully on almost anything, and it has a progression system tailored specifically for phones. So Activision essentially gave their own users zero reason to switch over. I mean, why leave a highly optimized, successful game tailored for your device just to play a broken, laggy alternative? They totally cannibalized their own market. Warframe treated mobile players not as an afterthought or just cash cows, but as equal, valued members of their main community.
Which leads us nicely to Section 5, Lessons from Mobile Gaming, the final takeaway.
The overarching lesson here is incredibly straightforward, and it's perfectly summarized by this quote from our sources. You can't just slap a massive console IP onto a mobile storefront, optimize it poorly, and expect the community to carry it on brand recognition alone. It really doesn't matter how big the name Call of Duty or Warzone is. If you don't respect the hardware and you don't respect the player's experience on that hardware, the brand simply will not save you.
Because mobile gamers are savvy, and their demands are pretty clear. They care about smooth frame rates way more than shiny but broken graphics. They demand proper optimization so their devices don't literally overheat in their hands. They want accessibility through smart touch controls, and above all, they want to be treated like the main community, not just some secondary revenue stream. Warframe figured this out and absolutely delivered. Activision ignored these pillars, and well, they're still out there trying to patch a sinking
Fascinating shift in the mobile gaming landscape, and one that proves, without a doubt, that optimization will always beat hype. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer, and definitely keep these lessons in mind the next time a massive AAA port promises the world on your smartphone.